Very busy studio this morning. It's a real change today from the last view of the week, which has been, let's face it, a real slog. This is a lot more of a targeted assassination of each muscle group. So we're going to be doing 3 parts, push, pull, and legs. Okay, we're going to be really focusing on each movement. The routine is called ISO Love to Hold You, including the title ISO. Isometrics, holding. Okay, so we're really focusing on each movement pattern, on each muscle. Anyway, I'll go into the details shortly. We'll warm up first. You will need a kettlebell or kettlebell's got a bit of variety. 2 light hand weights. Right, let's get warmed up first now. Get nice and loose. done this in here before. Right, so iso, not to hold you, we're working on isometrics today. Holding. So you're going to do a set number of reps, usually 10 reps. I think it's all 10 reps. And then you're going to hold an isometric contraction on that particular exercise to the bell. And then rest, brief rest. So you do get a cardio element because the rests aren't particularly large. And then on to the next one. So, that first one is all about push. So we're looking at chest, shoulders and triceps, pushing muscles, okay? So number one, a minute one, so we've got 4 minutes and we're going 3 times round. So we do 10 press-ups and then hold an isometric press-up to that 45-second bell. The holding point will dictate the difficulty. Okay, so, your 10 press-ups first. Remember, the press-up, you're an arrow, not a T. Don't do your press-ups like this. Yeah? Engage the lats, so you can see, pull the elbows down. It's important for a lot of exercise around your body, is to get that. Engage the lats, shoulders down. The heel of your hand should be lower chest level, not up here. If you're doing this, you'll never ever get good at press-ups. You need to be here. Whether you do it on your knees or not, again, that's up to you. Okay? I would rather you do 10 good ones on the knees like this though, than 10 bad ones, okay? So anyway, you do your 10, and you've got the choice, you can either hold it at the top of the exercise, which will still be tough. But if you want it more extreme, you can hold it right down there. Okay? And look again, I want this. Pull your elbows down. And during that isometric phase, the more you do that, it really gets you focusing on the movement and how to do a press-up properly, which is getting that. So important, it's subtle to see, but that's what it is. Elbows coming down, shoulders down. Never like this, that's where you're weak, that's where you're strong. Okay, anyway, so 10 and hold. Right, then you rest 15 seconds. Then we're doing shoulder presses, left and right. So we're going to do kettlebell press. I want us to strict press it as much as possible, so without any leg movement. If it gets too tough, want my lat around, then fair enough. Get a bit of legs into it. Okay, on the 10th one, I'm going to hold it at the top of the movement this time. So I'm going to really work on that lockout. So imagine I'm trying to get a straight line from this heel, through the body, all the way up there. I'm trying to eliminate something like this. Okay, a lock. Like I'm trying to push that to the ceiling, okay? Then the next minute, same on the left, or the right, whichever way around you do it, doesn't matter. The 4th minute, focus on the triceps. So after doing all that, you're not going to need a huge weight, so just be careful with this one. I'm going to use my 2 light dumbbells and hold them together. Okay, I'm going to do 10 tricep extension. Yeah, and on. The last one, we're going to hold here. 90 degrees, we did them yesterday. That was a little taste of what's to come today. You're going to hold them there, look. So the weight's just behind your head. You should be able to see the weight. So you don't really want to be there. You want that sort of optimum point, that 90 degrees. Hold for 45 seconds, and then rest. And then we go again, so 3 rounds of that. 10 reps, hold to the bell. 10 reps, hold to the bell. The same, very different from the last couple of days. Right. So, each circuit is 12 minutes. So you 3 circuits, and it takes them. No finishing challenge today. So all the challenge you need is right here in the knees. Push, pull, legs. Let's get the push them then. 10 press ups, and then hold the point of your choice. Remember, hard is low, easier, not easy, is high. Last round coming up. Teeth gritting time. Get the dumbbells behind your head.
The stars are kind of falling, with my face up to the sky. I reach up tall and touch them, electrified. And my body does the talking, swaying side to side. Up in the air we're glowing like butterflies. Anything for a feeling, self-destruction waiting. Maybe that's just the reason I
metabolism. This sort of training creates, like, body's able to do a repair job. That repair job will add more muscle to your frame, more muscle to your frame, equals more calories burned, even when you're doing your cardio. So in monetary terms, this workout's the equivalent of buying property and renting it out, as opposed to the last few days, the equivalent of going out and grinding per hour, you know what I mean? So that's why this sort of training is very effective as well. Mix the two together, and you want to win it. Right, so next one is pull. Same principle, 4 drills, set number of reps, 10 again, isometric hold to the bell, and then 3 rounds, just the same. Right, so number 1, throw fly to iso hold, 10 reps. We're going to get a good hinge for this. So to perfect that hinge, yeah, soften the knees and then push them out. Yeah, so it's the glutes here. So you're going to externally rotate the hips slightly. Then your chest comes down and your bum goes back until your spine is ideally parallel to the floor, or somewhere near parallel, if the flexibility of your posterior chain allows it. Anyway, when you reach that point, 10, and then hold. Okay, squeeze your shoulder blades together. Try not to come too much into this position, because then you're recruiting more lats and triceps. We want the upper back and back of the shoulders for this, really, because your lats are coming up next. So same principle, staggered row, 10 reps on the one side, and then isometric hold. During that hold, I want you to focus on 2 things: pulling the elbow up, but this is the overlooked bit, back as well. Just like a press up. Let's get this habit. Elbow back, so your body in a strong position. So you're going up and back. Try and keep contact with your waist there, your hip. Then the other side. Okay, if it drifts down, and it will, doesn't matter, as long as you're getting it as far and high as you can. And then the last one is 10 curls to iso hold. Do 10 400 curls, thighs to eyes, and then you're going to hold there for 90 degrees and squeeze that bicep, okay? Right. So traps, lats, biceps, pull, 3 rounds, 10 reps, squeeze the bell. Okay. Right, ready there. Round 1, here we go. 3, what is speed? the idea of that feeling you just had in your legs sends a shiver down your spine. I get it, but don't worry, it's mitigated somewhat by the fact that we're working around the legs, the muscles and groups of the legs. So, you know, it's an even spread. So we do quads, posterior chain, glutes in particular, we do 2, and then calves is the focus on the 3rd one. So it isn't quite, although tough, not quite as bad as you imagine coming off the back of those. I don't think. Anyway. Right, so this time, 10 goblet squats, twice so hold. Not gonna lie, that's tough. But what you can do, you can just put your weight down if you want to for the isometric hold. I'll show you in a second. Exercise 2 and 3 again. It's a single side, we're going to do a single leg glute bridge. Maybe squeeze and hold for that, 10 reps. And then the last one is a plyo squat, 10 plyo squats. But I want you to really focus on pushing through the toes to get the calves working. Well, more of a not plyo squat, so it's more of a vertical band, I'll show you, to focus on the calves. And then a tiptoe squeeze to the belt. Flash your legs, then we're done. Let me show you each one then. So goblet squat, one of your fundamentals. Get that kettlebell up here, hold it tight to the chest, so it's sort of eyes are just peering over the top. You come down into your squat. Remember, your squat, open the hips. Again, knees out. With a squat though, the knees are coming over, voila, coming over the toes, yeah? On that last one, you can hold at 90 degrees with or without weight. I don't mind if you want to drop the weight for that, it's fine. Okay, you get that. Next one. Glute bridge, single leg. So one leg raised, I'm supposed to squeeze. Imagine you're pushing your hips this way. 2, 3, 10, and then squeeze your hamstring and your glute. Keep pushing. Turn it out slightly as well. Yeah, really engage that glute. Then this side. 10. Get as much. Try not to be just doing this. Really squeeze. Push it to the back. Okay? And the last one, vertical jump. It's like a plyo squat. Probably you're going to go deep. There, and push through your calves as high as you can, let your head go to the ceiling. Okay? And on that last one, 10. Down, and onto tiptoe. Squeeze the calves. Pushing your head, crown of the head to the ceiling. Okay? To the bell. And you can go. So, quads first, a bit of hands. Glutes, a bit of hands. And finally, calves. There your focus is on each. Okay? Right, this is it. This is where we finish. Up to this. We're not done. Are you ready?
Nobody ringing my telephone now. Oh, home is such a beautiful sound. And I don't know how I survive. I'll make it to the shore without a boat.
Get cars. Come on, we're nearly there. Then last word.
keep going back to you.
Last minute.
Take time and I'm gonna draw me the time. Don't mind 'cause I like of you. And anyway, I could never leave if I tried. This pointless what's the use? Quick stop playing with your big eyes. Telling me it's love, but it's subtle abuse. I can hear those distant voices and they get me high like heroin. I think I found my poison. Nah, that's my medicine. It's like a constant craving and it gets me high like heroin. Toxic love like poison, but that's my medicine.
Well done. Brilliant. Well done, everyone. It's a very, it's out there on its own as far as the muscle work is concerned. That one is. That's as far as we go. Almost like a bodybuilding routine, that one. That's the beauty of total fitness. One extreme than the other. That was building your big house ready to rent. If calorie expenditure is like money in the bank, well, tomorrow we've got a family of 10 coming to rent that house. And that's Ed's 58. So that's 9 o'clock, a little bit earlier. It's Saturday. We've got total mobility coming now. Starting there, you've got beer. We're going to take you down there. Reboot, reset. Half an hour of deep stretching and relaxation. Worth doing. You're going to do it right now. It's only half an hour. Catch up whenever. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for subscribing, everyone. And I'll either see you in 2 minutes, 9 AM tomorrow, or 9:30 again next Monday. Well done. Have a great day.